Greetings, loves. Greetings. Y'all go ahead and hit that like button, share this video out, and subscribe. If you haven't already subscribed, to make sure you click that notification bell. Alright, so you can be notified of any future videos I may post. Now, y'all know I was just asking, why y'all picking on Corey Feldman? I mean, I was feeling sorry for him. I'm like, why they clowning this guy? Because, his music and stuff is different. I mean, that's an understatement, but I just, let him have some joy, let him be happy. And I decided to go on a journey, and a lot of people I saw were saying some of the same things that I was saying. Dude been through a lot. Why are you picking on him? And blah, blah, blah. But this was under the videos, which are many, of people, I can't say they're criticizing, they just clowning him and his music, okay? So, I kept looking. I said, it can't be this many adults just clowning this guy on his music. He had to have done something. He had to have done something, or they allege he's done something. I got to find something, because this is just no way. And I started to come across some stuff, okay? Y'all remember the two Corys, Corey Feldman, Corey Haim. Okay, now all of this is alleged. I don't know for sure, and I certainly have not done enough research to say, I believe it's true. I just been watching video after video after video. Man, listen, it's a whole bunch of stuff. Okay, it's something that I've heard before in the past about him and Corey Haim actually not being best friends like people, were thinking. It was just like a marketing strategy, because in case you guys don't know, I don't know how old you are, but they, played in a lot of movies together. Okay, a lot of movies together. So they were a marketing duo. Okay, so people pretty much thought, I guess, that they actually were best friends. And, I did hear the rumor many years ago that, they really weren't best friends, and that was just all for, marketing. And, that's what I'm seeing in these videos. But I'm seeing more than that. So Corey Feldman here, okay, he has been on this campaign to say that, somebody violated him, when he was younger. Okay, in case you guys don't know, he was a child star. I'm talking about from probably, around the age of 6 or something like that. And he's played in a lot of movies that, became, favorites of our childhood. And around the age of 14 or 15, he went through the process of getting emancipated from his parents, because, the mom, she just, she wasn't there for him, and neither was the father. I'm going to leave it at that. But, we also thought that was courageous and cool, and he still, with all that going on with the parents, he still was out here making these good movies. However, come to find out, I'm going to have to say allegedly, the guy who encouraged him to get emancipated became like his best friend, which he was I'm talking about grown man. And of course, Corey was like 15, and he began to mostly be at this guy's house. So same thing like with the Diddy stories and all that, like say Diddy and Usher. Okay, it was that. Except for Corey Feldman says the guy never did anything to him. Okay, that's great. However, Corey Feldman and Corey Haim, before Corey Haim passed away, I did not know this, had a documentary or reality show series, I think it was, which it's queued up. I have yet to watch it. I've only seen people do commentary on it, and it's quite disturbing. But basically, there was a point in time where Corey Haim was living with Corey Feldman, like for real. So he's been having struggles, right? And in the documentary, he was telling Corey Feldman, why aren't you telling people why I'm having these problems? And, Corey Feldman was like, we signed an NDA. We don't talk about that. Then I'm seeing a lot of this. And I just want to say, a NDA, if you're going to sign any kind of contract with somebody, make sure you get an attorney that you've researched and you can trust to go over that document with you, and make sure you're well aware of what you're signing and what that means. Okay? Because when it comes to NDAs, it's unfortunate that a lot of people have been able to convince people who sign these things that it means they can never tell if they see some crimes, that something happens to them or something happens to someone else. Now, we should know better than that, but it's okay. An NDA is never going to absolve someone from being, able to be reported upon if they're responsible for a crime. An NDA is supposed to protect their business, whatever their business is. Okay. Not anything that's against the law. That cannot be protected by NDA. It absolutely cannot. Okay. So if somebody make you sign an NDA and, a crime has been committed, something happens to you, something happens to someone else, someone try to blackmail you, extort you, whatever, you have a right to report that regardless of that NDA. The NDA is for, like petty stuff, like don't tell nobody I was smoking a cigarette because I have this image and I say don't smoke, whatever, stuff like that. Okay, don't tell nobody what kind of foods I like to eat. Don't tell nobody, I snore, I suck my thumb, these type of things, right? So, anywho, Corey Feldman was telling Corey Haim and the press that, we had an agreement not to talk about this because, it was in the NDA. So it's like, nobody's not going to say anything about this and tell him, no, you're wrong, because you cannot keep him from talking about a crime that happened to him through the guise of a NDA. So Corey Haim was saying to Corey Feldman in this series, he was like, your best friend that you introduced me to, essayed me as a child when I was a child, and you knew about it and you didn't care, and you continued to hang out with him still. Okay, so the speculation, of course, is that Corey Feldman, put the guy on to Corey Haim, like he set him up knowing what he was gonna do, and he introduced him to him so he could be targeted. Okay. So Corey Feldman basically was telling Corey Haim, like, yeah, we're going to talk about it. We're going to expose it. We're going to get to it and all that kind of stuff. And he really never did. Okay. So that's just me shortening it. So we know Corey Haim passed away. I don't remember how, but he had a rough time, so I can only assume, but I don't want to go off memory. Y'all can look that up. But before he did pass away, he did, talk a little bit, and he didn't have nice things to say about Corey Feldman. And he definitely was talking about, how he would wear a wristband because he would cut himself, just all the things that he was going through because it was hard for him to deal with what happened to him and the fact that nobody would advocate for him or anything like that. So after he passes away, okay, Mr. Corey Feldman here decides that he wants to go on this advocating spree for victims, child victims. And he was saying that he was a victim. Okay. So he was going on this press tour. And they were like, well, you should probably name, who the person was. Okay. Not only so they can be brought to justice, but so no other children can be harmed by this person, right? But he would never name the person. So the Me Too movement came out. He was pretty upset about that. And he was like trying to, make his own slogans. And he was saying adults is one thing. Adults, can go to a hotel at a certain time. Like, basically, they can put themselves in a position, for these things to happen. But a child cannot, they can't necessarily consent to being where they are. They're told to do so, but by their guardian and the contract that they have. He's talking about like child stars and stuff like that, right? So basically what he was saying, because I heard him, and this is the conclusion I came to, is that forget the adults, it's all about the children. And it's okay to be advocating for the children, but you can't say forget no other victims. You can't do that. But it's kind of what he was doing. He was like, this is way more important. That stuff is not important. So he was trying to act like he had this organization and this big old campaign and all this and that. And everybody was like, but, can we get to the part where you naming somebody? Because he was ranting about it. Like, he was really going on and on and on, doing all these interviews talking about this happened to me. I never got justice. People came out and they got paid. He was talking about other victims, let's say Cosby, whomever. All this, when this movement came out and people were getting checks. And he was like, I never got paid, for what happened to me as a child. So if y'all want me to tell who it is, I want $10,000. He did. I don't necessarily, I can't really critique him for that. Wanting to get paid for the suffrage that he went through. So I'm not going to do that. However, it gets worse. So Corey is going on this crusade. He's going on this campaign trying to get, people to give him money. And he's doing I watched a whole lot of interviews he did. And everybody's like, well, people are saying that you're lying. So it's like, now you got to prove that you're not lying. So he says, I did make a report. So he did another interview, and this was, a news station. He's on the news. He's on YouTube channels. He's on, the news is getting him a lot. But, they want him to change his story about Michael. So this is mostly what I was seeing at first. And I'm like, wow, this is really crazy. And even he was saying it. He was like, y'all don't care about what happened to me. You just want me to say something differently about Michael. So I watched one of his later news interviews. And he kind of changed his story a little bit about Michael. He was saying, if y'all don't remember, he hung out with Michael Jackson as a child. And, he always said, Michael's not that kind of person from what I saw. He never approached me in that way. There was never anything inappropriate. And, I can't say anything different. They were hard on these children, trying to get them to say something different. And, they had the documentary they did about Neverland. And, kind of find out those children admitted that, adults now, that they lied. So investigating Michael for so long, I believe it was like 12 years. raiding his place, smearing him all through the mud, having these children come forth and lie. They never found, never. And it's people to this day that still say these things about Michael, but they never, ever, ever, ever found anything on Michael to show that, he was guilty of these things. And Michael starts with M, and so does money. It's like there's all kind of ways you can get money from his estate if it truly happened to you. Okay, so if someone could actually prove that this happened, they would have done so. If the FBI could have proved that he did this, they would have. They have been trying for years. Okay, and they found nothing to show. I don't care how weird y'all felt like he was, or him hanging out with children and all that kind of stuff. They never found any substantial evidence to say that he actually did these things, right? But they won't let up. So Corey Feldman is doing his interview, and it's like, I don't know what kind of deal they made, but it seems to me like he made an agreement to amend what he's always said about Michael in order for them to, get him some airtime. So he comes on there and he's like, well, we want to respect all potential victims. Now, this was shortly after the Leaving Neverland documentary. So it was before finding out that these kids were lying and all that kind of stuff, right? So they had Corey on, and he was like, listen, if there are some true victims out there, they deserve to have justice. I can't speak for everything about Michael. He never said that Michael did anything, but his story was quite different. It was kind of like he was saying he respects, anybody who's been hurt. They deserve justice. He can't say for sure that he knows what Michael would or would not do. He just knows what he did not do with him. And it's kind of the same as what he was saying, except for he was leaning more towards it could be possible, in which he did say, it could be possible. And if so, I hope they get justice and stuff like that. Seems harmless, maybe, but not really, because you have to listen to everything he said, because I'm just kind of summing it up from, what I heard. But he was basically, in my opinion, indicating that, these guys are probably telling the truth, right? So I guess he felt like, okay, I give you what you wanted, so now let's listen to what I have to say about my story. So he got to trying to talk about his story. So he was saying again, this happened to him. And, they're like, who did it? Like, what's going on? You won't name anybody. Is this even really true? And so he was like, yeah, I filed a report. But I'm coming out with a book, blah, blah, blah. I got a documentary. I just need the money, to, get the documentary going. And so he went and did Wife Swap. Now, Tommy Davidson from Living Color, y'all remember him, Mr. Shaboing Boing Boing. Okay. Him and his wife swapped with this guy here. Yeah, they swapped with him. And boy, it showed a lot about Feldman here. So Corey Feldman, if you guys can see him, his hair and everything, that reminds you of Michael, right? So he's basically taken on, or he thinks he's taken on, Michael Jackson's persona. I thought it was just for his a couple of, songs or whatever. But nah, this is him all the time. Like, he has a lot of knockoff Michael Jackson outfits that he wears that looks a lot like what we've seen Michael in, but it just be like kind of like, dang, man, I hate to do it, but I mean, it just looked like his little sister who just trying to learn how to sew maybe did it. It's a Gordon Guttrell. What was it? Gordon Guttrell? Y'all know what I'm saying. Y'all know what I'm saying? When Denise made Theo that shirt, that's what his Michael Jackson outfits be looking like. I'm talking about everything: jackets, shirts, socks, shoes, gloves, hairstyles, all that. He is Michael all the time. And he has a lot of music he's done. In his music videos, he's wearing his Michael stuff. And he's trying to do all of Michael's moves. And he says that everybody tell him he sound like Michael and he danced just like Michael and he looked like Michael. I don't know who's telling him that because he does it. But yeah, so I'm like, okay, something is wrong with this dude. This is really interesting. So again, this guy, he's doing everything short of saying, I am Michael Jackson reincarnated. He reincarnated himself into me. He basically said Michael Jackson passed him the baton, though. And it's like, what? And then he was saying like Jordan Peele wants to do a movie with him because Jordan Peele told him that Corey Feldman, was his muse. Jordan Peele. I don't think I need to. Okay. So it seemed like he got some issues, right? Okay, cool. But how can he not? How can he not? So we not going. I can't join in on the reindeer games because dude got issues. You expect him to have issues, all he been through, right? Well, it doesn't stop there. So he also kind of thinks he's like Hugh Hefner as well. Let me explain. He has these girls that, are part of his, I guess, every day. And he had them on wife swap with him. And he was married. He was married. Was he married at the time of wife swap? Yes, he was. I think so. But Tommy Davidson's wife, when she did a swap with Corey Feldman's wife, she had to go over there and be with his angels because he has girls that he calls angels, like Charlie's Angels. And yes, he does put the Charlie Angels type talking in his music, but it's like him referring to his own angels. It's like everything this guy does, unfortunately, is super cheesy. Like, it's so cheesy to where you're like, yeah, he's gone. He lost it. His elevator doesn't go all the way to the top. It's not just what he's doing. Everybody who he hires does cheesy stuff for him. Like, okay, he had an artist draw up an album cover or some kind of poster or artwork or something. And it was like him, and it was like retro rainbow type, hippie type. But then it was like one of the angels, and she was like behind him, and she had a big machete, and it looked like she was trying to stab him. But I know that wasn't what they were trying to say. But then behind that, it was a black guy with a sign up saying, "Don't shoot, hands up," or something. And a cop behind him with a gun to his head. And then on the left, listen, I should have pulled that stuff up, but I'm not. Y'all got to go look for yourself because it's just too much. It's just too much. I'm just giving y'all some kind of idea. You got to go see all this stuff for yourself. I'm telling you. So it's like, okay. But then his music videos are super cheesy as well. His song lyrics. And it's like, I'm like, okay, y'all, with the song lyrics, because it's okay to have innocent music. And that's what I look at it as, innocent music. But it is corny, though. It's weird. Like everything he's doing in his music videos weird. And the whole everybody dancing like Michael and they do a horrible job at it. I mean, I think he's the best Michael Jackson dancer, imitation dancer in his videos, but he's even not really good at it. He's almost kind of on his way to being pretty much okay. But he does concerts, he gets charted, all this kind of stuff. So I'm like, hey, there ain't nothing wrong with that. Ain't nothing wrong with that. But as we find out on Wife Swap, he, is kind of strict with his angels. That's like they can't eat meat. He has all these rules. Oh, and they wear Victoria's Secret Angels costumes. Literally. I mean, literally. Y'all know what literally really means? All the time. Yes, all the time. Okay. And he makes them work out. He wants them to be like super slim, looking good all the time. And so he's really hard on them. And he pretty much controls and dictates their every life. And they're supposed to be in his school of angels. And that's what they're doing with their life. So they play instruments. Now, a lot of guys said that they're not truly playing those instruments. But he has them on the keyboard. His wife was on the keyboard. She did divorce him, though. His other angels are like on the guitar. And they sing. And the wife was singing. And it's horrible. It is, I'm talking about terrible, terrible. And it's like nobody, it's like don't nobody really be knowing that it's horrible. And I'm like, how is that? So it's just like, I don't know, it's just all eerie, right? Okay, but still, let the dude be weird, right? So people got to talking about him in his book and the Corey Haim situation. And what they were saying is that he waited until Corey Haim passed away to start profiting off of his name. And they brought receipts, of course. And that is exactly what he was doing. After Corey Haim passed away, that's when Corey Feldman decided that he wanted to advocate for what they had been through. And it's like when Corey Haim was alive, it's like it was haunting him. It was causing him all kind of pain and sorrow. It was putting a rift between their relationship that they were trying to have, I guess. And, the guy did live with him. So, he had a relationship with his wife, with his children and all that. And, they would fight a lot because Corey was just suffering because of what happened to him. And he was like, you got to make this good. Like, you got to tell people this happened to me. You got to tell people your best friend did this to me because it happened. I told you about it and you still, he's your best friend still all these years. Like you're not saying, yeah, Corey's not lying or none of that. Like you're not calling him out. You're not doing anything. And you want me to keep being with you, keep making money with you and all this other kind of stuff. And Corey Feldman was like, look, dude, we got an NDA. We got this reality show we doing. We got some other stuff they pitched us. And so, we not doing that. That'll come, but not now. And Corey Haim was like, boy, I can't even function because of this. And I cannot keep rocking with you, knowing that you don't care and you're protecting, my, perpetrator. So he just didn't care, y'all. So he said he did the wife swap so he could have money for his documentary. And then he said he needed somebody to produce it. And I think he did something else to get that money, or he came across somebody or something like that. And he produced a documentary. I haven't watched that yet, but I've watched people do, reviews and commentary. And it's him telling his truth, his story, but he's talking about, from what everybody's saying, he's talking about Corey Haim's story and all this, but Corey is gone. He never spoke up for him while he was alive. So whatever Corey Feldman is saying about him, we don't know what parts are true, what parts are not, but he does not have nice things to say about Corey Haim. He also wrote that book. And in the beginning of the book, okay, he has I think he read it himself in audiobook. So one of the people who did commentary on him and the book was playing it, and he was talking down bad about Corey Haim. He was talking about all his problems and stuff like that. And it's like, dude, his problems came from what happened to him. He made that clear. So why are you clowning him and talking about everything that you allegedly done for him? So basically the way Corey Feldman talks in all these interviews I've seen, in his book, his, documentary, all that, he talks like it's only about him. The world revolves around him. Who cares about other people? And it's all about him. So nobody's going to like somebody like that, right? But when it comes to his, child situation, everybody's saying that he is straight up lying because he never, named anyone. And he kept telling Corey Haim that he couldn't name the guy. I don't know how he kept getting away with that, but I guess he knew the implications or the, consequences potentially that would come from that. And by him being close to someone who's close to that man in that circle, he would need him to verify it with him so that he have, at least that layer of security. But Corey was not, backing him. But in the book, he's been telling all his business and stuff like that. Now, what they have shown in these videos they've been doing on Corey Feldman is that he's always hated Corey Haim, and he's always been jealous of Corey Haim because Corey Haim has been getting a lot of leading roles ever since they were little that Corey Feldman wanted. And you could even hear him saying this in interviews that they've done together and separately. And Corey Haim was saying, look, I didn't know at the time that I was taking this role from you. But at the same time, this is what we're supposed to do in this business. And they were being offered to me and we didn't even know each other. Not really. This is before, they was doing all this working together and stuff like that. But, Feldman was saying, this role, that role, this role, that role, this leading role, that leading role. I always played second, and you got leading roles, or he got roles in some stuff that, Corey wasn't in. Because it wasn't until, they started, they put them together in a couple of things to where they kind of caught on that, hey, this can be a duo, Corey and Corey. And so that's how it went throughout the years. But in case any of you guys remember, Corey Haim and Corey Feldman were two different Coreys. Okay, Corey Haim had swag, he was very handsome. And he just had this, personality about him. He was just like one of the cool kids, And we know who Corey Feldman was. We remember the Goonies. He's pretty much the same in all his younger movies. So he was like the guy. To me, he was kind of cool, but he was cool in a not the popular kind of cool way. He was like cool in a nerdy kind of way, but he still had his own personality that stood out. So, he wasn't that bad to me. But I know, compared to Corey Haim, he was not the favorite. So, of course, they would put Corey Haim in a lot of leading roles and more of the cooler, roles. And so he always hated him for that, and he always wanted revenge. And he pretty much said so himself. And Corey Haim's mother said that after he passed away, Corey Feldman called her on the phone and said he was about to put his book out and he was about to get his revenge on Corey Haim. She said that out her mouth, okay? And it sounds like that's what he was trying to do, because he didn't have nothing nice to say about Corey. And it's like, dude, why are you doing that? Like, people can see exactly how you feel. Like, the dude is gone and he suffered. Like, you claim you suffering, but in which I'm not going to say he's not, because clearly he got to be, but you running around here having a music career and it's not even a good one. But it is good for somebody who isn't good, if that makes any sense. Because he got people who coming to see him. He's charting. He's getting, he was like number 21 on the top 40 Billboard. But that was for a song that he made dedicating to Corey Haim, y'all. This dude here is a real piece of work. But, he's doing what a rich person can do. It's like, you ain't good, but he's doing it. And he get to act like he Michael Jackson. Who else can do that, right? Get all these clothes made, look like Michael, dance like Michael, act like Michael. All that. Okay, so he's like basically trying to relive Michael Jackson's career. Corey Haim didn't have that kind of lifestyle. And he was the popular one as he was younger, but that, what happened to him really, really messed him up. Like, really messed him up. So his adult life was harsh, for him. It was real hard. Like, he couldn't escape it. So there's that, right? And of course, there's a lot more to it and in between, but as I'm still looking at stuff, y'all gotta go and get all this firsthand yourself. So then what I've gotten to now is a list of people who are coming out and exposing him. Which, when I saw that he had the Angels thing and all that and how he was on Wife Swap, I was like, yeah, somebody gonna come forth, I'm going to find that next. Somebody coming forth, talking about how, abusive he is, or, some kind of accusations or what have you. I've only listened to a couple so far, and there is a channel that has like a few people that work with him, including some of his former Angels. Because basically the Angels are like the musicians, the eye candy, the singers, and everybody sucks. Okay, now I'm not gonna say everybody, because there's this one lady, and she was the first one I listened to, and she has credentials. This woman is a popular musician. She's accredited. She's real good, and she thought she was taking on a serious job, and found out that it was something different. But she did an expose with a guy, and she told a lot of stuff about him, like how horrible of a person that he is, how he treated her, and the whole thing from top to bottom. I'm not going to say it's not that bad, but we've heard worse. Okay. But at the end of the day, this woman did not have a good experience. It's similar to, if y'all listen to the guy who exposed the Jacksons of Atlanta, Soundwave Reviews, is similar to that in almost every aspect. Okay. It's not good. As I'm listening to it, I'm like, wow, this is almost exactly, the same scenarios that, Sunway was giving about the Jacksons of Atlanta. So it's really unfortunate that people rock like this, right? But there's more. And I really can't be of any details about it because it's literally playing in the background right now, so I haven't listened to it yet. But I was like, I gotta do a follow-up video because I was like, why y'all picking on Corey? And now I see what the issue is. And I haven't gotten all the way to it because the woman that is up to play next, they were saying that, this one involves actual, assaults and stuff like that. And it's not good. I mean, everybody who is talking about this guy is saying he is the scum of the earth. And they are definitely saying that he needs to be in jail. And they're advocating to make that happen. So I've heard some hints of some stuff that I gotta check out, so I'm not even gonna mention it, but there's a lot more to it than just the stuff that I mentioned, that's for sure. And that's really unfortunate. It's really unfortunate, but at the end of the day, I'm not surprised though. I'm not surprised. He came from a background of his parents wanting to use and abuse him and not really caring otherwise. And it seems like he adopted that same, mentality as far as other people. But what he does is, which is creepy, he tries to act like he's a crusader for good. Like he be saying he God body and he advocating for children. And I mean, the whole children thing at this point is creeping me out because it's like, why are you stuck on children so bad when you're actually not advocating for children? After all, you know what I'm saying? Like, what's up with that? And this is the guy, mainly the only guy who was able to vouch for Michael from, now Macaulay too, we know that. But, jeez, man, like, what's going on with this dude? It's just so weird the way he is moving around and behaving. But, unfortunately, this happens a lot with people who have power and fame and money and, been living this way for so many years of their life. They get into this delusion that they're untouchable and whatever reality they want to create for themselves in their head, they can do that. And, once you get stuck in something long enough, you actually begin to believe that this is reality. This is what it is. So if you have your wife, you have these girls acting like they're your angels, they, whatever you say is law in your world, after a while, that's how it's going to be. If you have people around you who, they're going to be yes men, of course. Because if not, they don't get to, benefit from, whatever they think, whether it's money or, boosting their careers or what have you. And I'm talking about everything that he touches, everything about it, like from the marketing aspect, from, just everything is like, it's all super cheesy. It's all just as corny as he is. So it's like he has to be a control freak, as they have said, to sit up there and say, no, I want it like this. And so if that person, is saying to themselves, well, I already told him that really was, we should go with, but if he insists, listen, he paying for it, so let's do it. And that's what it's given. It's given that everything from, his, whatever he wears, whatever setup is for the videos, whatever artwork is for whatever like even the music, y'all. I can't make this up. Every aspect is super corny and juvenile. It's like the music it don't even really have a real beat. It's hard to explain. It's like it's a bunch of notes all over the place. I'm not joking. He do some corny stuff in his videos that doesn't even make sense. And he's grown to be a weird looking guy. He kind of reminds you of Marilyn Manson or Ozzy or whatever. And he seems to have a beef with Marilyn Manson. Not sure what that is. But, he was even talking about fighting him at one point. But it's just, you can tell that he's been living in his own world where everybody's been catering to him and not saying anything. But as with all these guys, all it really takes is for one person to start talking, and then everybody else says, okay, now I can come out. Now I can come out. And that's what's been happening. So, I'm not sure what the goal is, but I think from what people are saying is that the goal is for him to be arrested. So there has to be more that I haven't gotten to yet, that gets deeper for them to say he belongs in jail. They're saying nobody else needs to be, up under him. Nobody needs to be exposed to him and become his victim. And I'm talking about this guy been doing a bunch of interviews throughout the years. I'm talking about he been everywhere on all kind of news stations. He's been on Wendy. I mean, just everywhere. And he's pretty much, saying all the same stuff. And nobody is really giving him any hard time, any questions or anything, except for the people who've been exposing him. The only time he really got any pushback is when they were trying to make him say stuff about Michael. But other than that, it's like people are pretty much just like, yeah, okay, whatever, man. And it's a point to where he kind of sounds believable when he's talking about what he says happened to him. They did, I think it was Dr. Oz. Yeah, he was on, man, he been on everybody's show. But Dr. Oz interviewed Corey Haim's mother as well. And that was, sad. But Corey was like, they asked him, they was like, okay, so the sheriff department came out with a statement. And they said that you never gave them a name. And he was like, I did give them a name, but they didn't. They turned off the recorder. But I have the records or something like that. And then they came out and said, they said it was a question about whether he had did the interview. So he got on the show. I don't know if it was Dr. Oz or whatever, but they were like, okay, the sheriff department said, yeah, you did come in and give a report, but you never gave a name. So how are they going to pursue anybody if you're not telling them who you're alleging did this to you? And he was like, I did say it. They know. They have it on record. They turn off the recorder and all. Like, he had an answer for everything, And they were saying that's not true or whatnot. But he still ain't said who it was. Okay, we in 2024. All right, so I still ain't heard not one thing that says he revealed who the person is. And remember, y'all, he was saying he would tell who it is if he gets $10,000. Now, he said something about the statute of limitations, but I call BS on that, and I'm going to tell you why. This guy said in his book he didn't name who it was because the editors took it out for legal reasons because the statute of limitations were expired. And so at that point it would be, accusations that cannot be proved, so he could probably get sued or whatever, what have you. Okay, okay, you got that one, player. But they're like, okay, cool, bump that book. Why haven't you told the authorities? And then remember, y'all, with the whole Me Too and all this other kind of stuff and Cassie and all that, they extended grace to people to press charges. So he's never pressed charges against anyone either. Now, we all know from everything we've been finding out that it's actually quite rare for it not to have happened. But the problem is, he's not saying anything. And if I had to guess, I would guess the guy who was supposed to be his best friend, who was a grown man at the time, in his late 20s, and he's hanging out with a 15-year-old. And he's also accused of, doing it to the 15-year-old's friend, who is Corey Haim. Yet Corey Feldman says that's not the guy. Now, this guy is now deceased. Okay, along with Corey Haim is deceased as well. So, I don't know. It's a lot going on concerning this dude. I don't know if y'all interested in, taking a look. But there is, I don't know, I can create a playlist of the stuff that I'm finding. Because it's all over, it's all over the place. But if you put his name in, it's not hard to find. There's a channel that has interviews of people, which is what I'm watching now. And this is the people who actually work with him. And the one that I'm getting ready to listen to, they say this one is bad. They say this one is bad. So I didn't want to watch it first because I don't want to get on here and start repeating any of it. So if y'all say, well, the stuff you're saying is pretty much lightweight, it's not really. Yeah, well, I mean, you can say that because we've heard so many horrible things. But I disagree with it being lightweight because, when you get to talking about the whole Corey Haim situation, I mean, the dude, he gonna have to pay for that. Whether he realizes it or not, he's gonna have to pay for that. You're not gonna just get away, with doing him like that. You know what I'm like? Ugh. It's just ridiculous to sit up here and, just even think that that's how he treated this guy. Because honestly, they made their money together. There was not, it was the two Coreys. It was the two Coreys. He has, I think it's called the RAPE of the two Coreys. I think that's his book or his documentary or something like that. It's like he really been riding on Corey Haim's name since he passed away. It's unbelievable. I'm just looking like, what? Because they've showed, how he was with him when he was here. And, not to mention his biggest suffrage. Like, this dude got a look on his face looking at Corey Haim like, I don't care about none of that. But when these cameras stop rolling, we gonna have it out because you're not even supposed to be bringing this up. Why it wasn't edited out, I'm not sure, unless we was watching the edited version of it. But this dude could not rest. Like, he was not okay because of what happened to him, and he needed that. He needed that to be out. And this dude didn't care. But after he passed, he turned around and started screaming to the top of his lungs, talking about, what about me? What about what happened to me? I haven't been compensated. And yeah, he talking about you want money. Again, I can't really fault him for that, but it's just so weird, like all that's going on. Now, another thing is, because I know y'all saying, because I know, listen, Joe Rogan did a roast on him. He, the title of the video is Joe Rogan doesn't like Corey Feldman. And yeah, it's clear he doesn't like him, and that's cool. But dang, a lot of the stuff Joe Rogan was saying in that video, it was horrible. Just like the girl who who I said she's a decorated musician and everything, and she came and she did an expose on him. She was her and the host was comparing Corey to OJ. I found that odd. It threw me off. And I think people make mistakes when they do stuff like that. Because here you are pointing out things that you want people to hear and take into consideration, do further research on, or, listen to your evidence and all that and care about your story. But then you go bringing up something that is totally irrelevant. And just because you have a stance on it, you're going to say negative things that actually technically aren't true, aren't proven to be true for sure. And then you're not realizing that you're alienating a lot of people by doing that. Because I'm going to tell you something. The courts did not find OJ guilty of this crime that y'all still mad at him about. And he has a right to be declared not guilty because that's what the courts declared him. I don't hold the opinion that he did it. Why would I hold it? I wasn't there. And I don't think none of y'all was there. However, he had a trial. I'm pretty sure they wanted to get him. That's why he got such a harsh time later on for, the memorabilia incident. They definitely wanted to put him away. We not, there's no confusion about that. But they weren't able to. And he had a trial. So technically, he didn't do it. Whatever speculations y'all got or ideas you have, none of those panned out in court. It's so weird because you want to say, the black man killed the white girl and her white boyfriend, even though the courts said he did. And it's black people do this too, and I think that is so, like, you doing more harm to your people as a whole than you are just OJ. I don't know what y'all issue is with OJ. Is it because he was with Nicole, or because he was the juice man? Like, I don't know what everybody issue is with OJ, honestly. However, I don't have no problem with OJ. Okay, OJ ain't did nothing to me. And I don't know about what he's supposed to have did to nobody else. What I do know is he had a trial and he was not convicted of taking nobody's lives. But these people sitting up here did all this talking about Corey Feldman, and then they gonna compare him to OJ while talking slang, talking down on OJ, about him supposed to be guilty. And he got away with it. And he's sitting up here laughing and playing golf while people's deceased. And I'm sitting up here like, what is he supposed to do? That's like saying I laughed today and my mother been dead 19, 20 years. Like, are you never supposed to be okay because somebody died? You don't know what people go through behind closed doors over that same situation. But because you ever see them happy, they wrong? Like that? Come on, you gotta make sense. I try to. At least try to. And it seems like y'all don't even be trying. You just be saying whatever because that's what you want to say. But no, it don't work like that. And she said some other stuff. Both of them. OJ and something else. And I'm like, why would y'all even do that? And you sit up here and you should have said that in the beginning. I wouldn't even listen. I sat here and listened to all this over an hour of you talking about how Corey Feldman did you wrong. Corey didn't do nothing to me. But I'm over here giving your story, some play and consideration. And then, gonna go tell people about it. But y'all talking all this jack about OJ. I'm not watching no more. Cause I'm not coming for that. I'm not trying to hear y'all talk about OJ. It's not even necessary, but you think you wise, do it. Keep doing it. Keep doing it. Who you gonna offend next? I noticed that has really become a thing with people, in recent years. It's like, because you don't like a person or you feel like they're guilty of something, even though it hasn't been proven in a court of law, you can just throw them in random conversations that don't have nothing to do with them and bash them. Y'all do that with presidents, everybody. It's weird. You do that with Trump too. And it's like, boy, wasn't nobody even talking about Trump. What is you talking about? Now you trying to start an argument. Y'all going back and forth over this and that. And then you be accusing people of being racist and, MAGA this and all this and that. And it's like, why? Why? Even if they are in favor of him becoming president, you can't even say that without somebody saying, accusing you of a whole bunch of heinous stuff. I mean, it's just real bad. So that's the vibes I got from them doing that. And I mean, they was going in. I was like, hold up, wait a second. Excuse me, y'all are recording. We hear you. At what point do you think it's okay? Because you feel that way? You think everybody don't feel that way? I'm not going to feel that way. I can't feel that way. How can I feel that way? I don't understand how you feel that way. Especially when y'all don't even know Nicole or that dude. So for some reason, and you wasn't there, and OJ didn't call you up and be like, look here, I'm just going to tell you this, random person. They didn't get me, but yeah, I did that thing, boy. I don't know what makes y'all feel like that, but what makes you think everybody else feel like that and gonna be cool? Yeah, I'ma judge you when you do that. I'ma judge you. All that she said about Corey it don't even matter to me. I don't even care about what she alleging she went through. As far as I'm concerned, she delusional. Like, she just making up shit because she didn't like the environment. You stayed. You went through it. You went on tour with him or whatever y'all was doing. He made you carry your own equipment. Was it in the contract? Like, was it his job to hire somebody to carry your musical equipment? Then she turned around and said, I wouldn't let nobody carry my equipment because my violin costs more than my rent. So why are you complaining that he made you carry your own equipment? She said, well, it was heavy. It was heavier than me. Like, okay. So the OJ thing did it for me. Again, I'm just keeping it real with y'all from what I'm hearing outside of the, him being a pompous, like him being a dork. We always knew Corey Feldman was a dork. And I never was mad at him for that. He was a cool dork to me in his movies. I didn't know him personally. None of us did, right? But we're talking about, like, in his movies, that character worked for him. And we could tell clearly it was part of who he is because it was always present. Clearly it worked for him. He was a mega superstar actor in his day. He done played in some classics. I can't even begin. Come on, y'all, Lost Boys? That really set it off for them. Y'all remember Lost? Man, that movie that's a classic right there. And I'm down with the whole vampire thing. I always have been, but Lost Boys really took that to another level for me. It was creepy. It was good. It was suspenseful. It was some cool characters in there. The storyline was great. And it worked, with the type of characters, because Corey Haim played, a dorkish kind of corny sometime character, but he had a little bit of coolness to him that was above Corey Feldman. and it was undeniable, but that role worked for them. Okay. Even in Goonies, same thing. Same thing. What would Goonies be without Corey Feldman's role? Like, he played in some. This dude is legendary from a child, right? But we can't ignore the things that contributed to what it seems like people are dealing with now. Okay, starting with the parents. And whatever else he experienced and whatever else his life was like as a child. And he was saying that when he got emancipated from his parents, y'all remember, I don't know if y'all do remember, because it was a big deal to me. It was a big deal to a lot of us. I ain't gonna lie. Even when people do interviews with him, they bring that up. I think even Drew Barrymore brought that up. Because most child stars had issues with their parents, especially you making all that money and they doing what, And a lot of times they was forcing them to work. They put them in, acting and stuff so that they could take care of the family. So, but the child is the one doing all the work. But a lot of people, would bring up, his emancipation because that was a big deal. He was like one of the first child stars to do that. It was him and somebody else did it, like right around the time or right after. I can't remember which. I don't know if it was Drew, but it was somebody that was in that era too. It was a girl, popular actor. So I'm thinking maybe it was Drew Barrymore. Yeah. But, that was a big deal for him to be able to do that because it's not easy getting emancipated. I mean, you can't just be like, oh, I'm a star, I make money, of course I can take care of myself. Nah, you got to show that you're competent on an adult level, signing contracts, making decisions. How are you going to convince a court of that? So there's a lot that goes into that, and he made that happen. I saw one, where they talked about how he got fired from an important movie. I can't remember which movie it was that he was doing, and this was like early when he was really starting to pop off, as a teen. And this came from him, so I don't know how true this is. He always talks himself into being like the best and perfect and all that. But he was saying like he always did immaculate work. He always overstudied. He always was working super hard and just doing his best, and he was perfect in everything that he did. You got to listen to him. He pretty much says that. But what he was saying is that in this movie in particular, he was struggling because he had just transitioned to being like, say, around 15, 14, maybe 13, 14. And so they don't waste no time, being lenient, or not lenient, but the child labor laws. Like, they start transitioning you into, okay, now you about to be an adult now. So when the child labor laws say you can only work during the day, you can only work these type of days, you can only work, these many hours and under these conditions, they start taking that away. And who gonna check them? Your parents are supposed to check him, but his parents was off, right? And if not, they're supposed to have an advocate there and or lawyer or something to be watching over you and say, no, you're doing too much. It's hard on them. Yeah, we can cut a little bit, but nah. And he had no advocate at all. No advocate. So he was getting the hours. He was having to work at night. And he was saying he wasn't used to that. And they did like a split day. And they had like, they went to work like from 3 a.m. to whatever. And then they took off, and then he had to come back at night. Now, normally, the other crew would come, but he wouldn't because he was a child. But, they was trying to tell him, now you can do it. So, how could he argue with that, right? So he was saying he didn't know how he was going to stay woke. He wasn't used to it. He hadn't been getting no sleep, and he was having trouble. And he was saying his mother was never there, and when she was, she would beat on him. But he was saying that she will be off getting high. Okay, she had I think he said Chinese or Japanese lady that she would be getting high with, and she'd be summer everywhere, just getting high and messing with men on the set and all that kind of stuff. She never would come for him or anything. But he said that day he ran into her friend that she be getting high with. And she said he said he was telling her about the problems. It was like, you know where my mom is? She was like, I don't know where she at, but I got something that'll keep you woke. Okay, so she gave him some of that white girl. And he said that was his first time taking it, and he trusted her. And he was like, well, my mom is doing it, so whatever. And he said he thought it was going to last forever. He didn't know no better, right? And she took him out and she was teaching him how to drive. And he was high for the first time, right? Weird, but that's his story. So he said when it was time for him to go to work, he was like, she said, oh no, this going to wear off by the time you get ready to go in. And he was like, well, that ain't going to help. Like, that's what I needed it for. I thought it was going to last. Why you give it to me now, not give it to me then or whatever. But he said she told him, don't worry about it. I'll be there when you get, as you're getting into, your dressing or whatever. I'll be coming up and I'm gonna hook you up. And he said she never showed up. So he's tired. He's coming down from his high. So he's discombobulated. He can't remember his lines, all this kind of stuff, because he's just stressed out, tired, etc. And he said his producer was like, this isn't like you. Are you on drugs? Like, what's going on? So he said he got fired on the spot. Now, my thing is, if you were so perfect, ain't no way that dude would have fired you that one time. And you the star of the movie. You know what I'm saying? So right then, that's when I was, and now this is when I just was looking at interviews that he's doing. I listened to him talk for a lot of interviews before I even went back to listen to what everybody else was saying. And he was like, he got fired on the spot. So I'm like, he fired you because it was too much. Like, you're in the middle of shooting a movie and you are the star. You know what I'm saying? So he said that they asked him, where's your mom? Like, where your mom at? Like, they knew his father wasn't ever gonna come, right? So they didn't ask that. But they were like, where's your mom? Where's your mom? And he was like, I don't know. I haven't seen her. I can't contact her. And he said somebody on the set, I think it was the creep dude that Corey Haim said mess with him. Yeah, it was. He said that dude spoke up for him and was like, listen, this is the problem. He doesn't have an advocate. We can't even legally fire him without him having some kind of advocate, in the situation. So he was like, we got to figure out what to do. We got to find your mom. And he said basically it led to the guy telling him, we need to get you emancipated because your mom, she ain't going to be what she need to be. And you're a star. You need to keep going. You need to be on your balance. And, he was stressed out about his mom, right? So that's when the dude took him to get emancipated. But he was staying with the dude. And it was all kind of P. Diddy stuff going on. But he was saying that he never was a victim. And they was best friends. He said all into his adulthood that man was his best friend. Now he 14, 15. And that guy was almost 30. Yeah. And to this day, he don't see no problem with it. Like, he don't see no wrong in himself ever. It's amazing to hear him talk. I mean, you can just look at his music And you be like, what? We didn't even know he was out here doing music. I know I hadn't seen him in any movies or anything, but it's like, at what part did he decide I'm not gonna do movies no more? Although I've been shitting on the game since I was a kid. This guy could have been making it. I don't know. He could have, because I don't know about his creativity skills, so I can't say what he could have been doing on his own, but he could have been acting for a long time. Because he was saying when he emancipated from his parents, he was a millionaire. But he said by the time they sorted his money, because he's now going to be in control of his own money, he only had $40,000. $40,000. He said basically his parents got their I guess 15%, he said, and then they made themselves his like managers and what's the other role? But they each took a role, and then they took the cut for that, which was like 10 or 15%. I don't know. And they had other people that were supposed to have roles, but I guess they were friends of theirs, and they weren't there for him at all, but they were taken out for that. And a lot of other stuff. And his father actually was a con artist. He said he had an agency to where he would he was doing like I guess an MLM or whatever. He would have people and say, oh, I can turn you into this and blah, blah, blah. And then he would get everybody there, and then he would pick one person and say, I'm going to do this for them and blah, blah, blah. And it'll be amazing results or whatever. And then he'd say, yeah, the rest of y'all, you want this? Yeah, it's going to cost you blah, blah, blah. You know, that type of setup. So he said that's what he was out there doing. And whenever he tried to call him for something, he never would show up. But he was getting his money, so he didn't care. And he said he would use his likeness, for marketing and to pull people in for his scheme, because he's like, I'm Corey Feldman's dad. He would have his posters everywhere, and his commercials and all that would be like, yeah, I'm the father of Corey Feldman, child superstar, blah, blah, blah. And his mother, of course, was on drugs and being a little whore. You know what I'm saying? So that definitely had to have a major effect on him. And then to be, solely in the hands of some dude, and this dude is a creeper. Now you all up in the mix of everything. So I'm saying all that to say, y'all, again, this guy been through a lot. You can't expect him to be okay. Yeah. But when he say he had something happen to him, I don't know how to explain it, because it's not my story to explain. But just maybe he never wanted to say anything. But Corey Haim, on the other hand, he could not get it off his mind. Like, it was a problem for him, so much so to where it had to be talked about, Corey Feldman, I guess, dealt with it differently, or his ego didn't want, or he didn't, because that was the guy. I'm not saying it was that guy. He never said who it is, so who else was it? And I hate it, because when you look at all that, it's like, dude, you was the one who vouched for Michael. Now you being Michael, and that's weird. I'm not saying Michael did anything to him, but again, Joe Rogan, y'all. That's why I said I'm gonna make a playlist, because y'all gotta hear that video. But I'm pretty sure if you put in Joe Rogan does not like Corey Feldman, you'll hear it. He said some foul stuff, and it's like, I was laughing with him. Yes, some of these videos, y'all, I was laughing. The way they be The way they be clowning this dude, it's like, but you looking at it though. I'm talking about like with his music and stuff. It's like they clowning it, but we looking at it. I'm talking about these people trolled the mess out of him, went to his concerts and everything, just so they can get footage, and then come back on YouTube and be like, I'm like, whoa, that's another level right there, you know. That's another level. I'm telling you, but his stuff is just So when Joe Rogan is talking junk about him and his music, I'm like, okay, it's funny because you know Joe Rogan, he can go in if when he wants to. But then he was like, I'm just gonna tell you, if you're a victim of any SA, especially as a child, you don't want to hear that video. I'm gonna say that. You do not want to hear that video because I don't know what possessed Joe to say all that he said. But it doesn't just go against Corey, it goes against anybody who's been a victim. I mean, he clowned him as far as saying he was, you know, messed with in the most derogatory way and several times. And then, yes, he did say Michael Jackson too. It's not cute. I can't even believe he said it like on a microphone where other people can hear. And the video is out there. I'm like, because it's Corey Haim. It's like, I mean, Corey Feldman. That's why it's okay. Like, it's not, it was disturbing when I heard it. Real disturbing, real disrespectful. It's like to clown him about that, regardless of whether you like his music or not, because it seemed to me like his gripe was his music. I'm not sure what all he knows about Corey. I haven't heard any other conversations, you know, from him about Corey in any other way. It might be some out there, I don't know. But he was on Steve-O's. Corey Feldman was on Steve-O's. You know, Steve-O got a podcast called Wild Ride. Steve-O's from Jackass, y'all. Y'all ain't from the Jackass era. You ain't gonna understand. You ain't gonna understand. But Steve-O, okay, it's a guy named Steve-O. And he has a podcast called Steve-O's Wild Ride. And he had Corey Feldman on there. And I listened to the show. He sounded like he got plenty of sense. The stuff he was saying was understandable. Like, he was explaining, you know, his life. He was explaining things that, you know, he been through. I only saw, like, you know how they put it in clips? I haven't watched the whole thing yet. But I saw, like, a 30-minute clip. And it went pretty well. Like, he was trying to explain something. I think it was him advocating for children. And one guy that was there, that be doing podcasts with Steve-O, he interrupted him and he was trying to take the conversation somewhere else. And Corey didn't let that happen. You know, respectfully, he brought it right back so he could finish it because it was important and serious. And I was like, I don't know why y'all clowning him because of his music. Because, I mean, outside of his music, dude right here, he on point. He on point. He got plenty of sense. You know, he just lost in his sauce. Let him be lost in his sauce. But then, you know, the final thing I came to was the people exposing him. And again, I can't say I heard nothing that was super horrible except for the Corey Haim stuff. If that young lady was treated like that, oh, that's unfortunate. But, I mean, you had a contract, so there's that. You know, she was like, they don't eat meat. I'm going to tell y'all, like, how this went, okay? Just so you be clear on what it was. Okay, so if you haven't heard, or you don't even know who these people are, but for those who did, who know who the Jacksons of Atlanta are, you know, Someway Reviews was a videographer that worked for them, and he did an expose video on them. So think about everything that he said. Now, this woman was like, when I first went to audition, it was at his house. I thought that was strange, but I went anyway. Okay. You thought it was strange, but you still went. So she said it was nothing weird. It didn't seem, it was nothing weird at that time. Okay, so she decided to go forward. But she said she found out that everything pretty much was going to be done in his house. Now, we're talking about somebody with money. We're not talking about 3-bedroom, 2-bath. We're talking about a mansion, right? Okay. So, if you had a mansion, I don't know, I guess you would use it, part of it, to do your business. People do that. You know, I wouldn't want people come to my house or know where I stay at. I don't know. A lot of people do. Okay, she agreed to that, but she said she didn't like that part. But then she said they were stationary pretty much the entire time. She didn't elaborate. I assume what she meant was they would be pretty much in one room. From the way she was talking, it sounds like that's what she was saying. So now we're starting to get a little bit to where, okay, this is probably not a professional setting. Okay, but you still stayed. Okay, cool. All right now. So, you know, she got to talking about the angels, and she was saying she had to teach his wife to play piano because she couldn't play. Although we thought she could, right? I don't know if that was in your contract, but you did it. So you could have, like, I don't know, not did it. Okay. So she was also saying, you know, of course, I said earlier about her carrying her own equipment onto the bus, and it was heavy. And of course, if you're on tour, you're going to carry it on, you're going to set it up, you're going to put it off. And she said, who's going to help me? And he was like, your crew is going to help you. And I'm just like, was it supposed to be a different way? Like, was he supposed to help you? Like, was he supposed to have another crew to help you? Was that in your contract? Because why you complaining about it? Like, was it in your contract that he was going to get somebody? Or you just assumed and you didn't know what you was doing? I don't know. Okay. But then she said she didn't want nobody carrying her equipment anyway because she didn't trust nobody that she didn't know to carry her equipment. A violin costs more than her rent. So I'm like, what we complaining about again? Oh, I don't know. So then him and his wife, you know, was separated because somebody asked about his son because he does have a son. And she was saying, yeah, the son was there. I don't know how old he was at the time. But she was saying that the son would stay on the bus when they would perform. And I'm like, we're talking about a tour bus, so, you know, he probably had entertainment, games, whatever. He probably had one person on there with him. How old was he? I'm sorry, why was he supposed to go in with y'all? You know, I'm just like, it's his son. People take their children with them on tour all the time. So, okay. So then she says, you know, just saying he wasn't a really, she's saying wasn't, I guess he didn't hire any staff or nothing to come clean up. Okay, now we get into, you know, atmospheres that it's not really, you're not feeling it. Okay, so did you talk to him and he refused to fix it? And so you're like, I can't be in this environment. No, you stayed. Okay. She was saying the animals, the dogs, I guess. I don't know if there was cats, but, you know, they would get busy in the kitchen. I don't know. She didn't say if there were puppy pads. She didn't say, Nothing. She was just saying that's how it went down. Okay, yeah, that sound bad, but that's his kitchen. You wasn't in it. She wasn't in his kitchen. She just knew about it. I don't know. What else did she say? Oh, she was saying that part of the I think she said part of the contract was that she pays for her food, but he would get the food, and he has a specific diet that they go by, which a lot of people do, and it's mostly fruit and vegetables. They don't eat meat, and you cannot have that around them. Okay, I'm the same way with pork. There's a lot of people that's like that, and whatever the reasons are, just respect it. It is what it is. So you knew that going in. Why you complaining about that? I don't know. So she was saying, well, it's hard to get something to eat because if you don't have, anywhere to eat, then you can't get something else. But you paying for food, he's providing food. Eat your fruits and vegetables. It ain't bad for you. How long y'all on tour for? I mean, I don't know, make you a protein shake or something? So that was that. She said, even if it's raining outside, because she had a turkey sandwich, then you got to go outside and eat that. Well, sis, you knew that was the rule, though. Did you think he was supposed to let you in because it's raining? No. How bad do you want that turkey sandwich? Because if I had that rule about pork and you think because it's raining I'm going to let you bring that girl by, it's not happening. So I can't rock with you on that. Let's see, what else did she say? I can't really come up with nothing else that I remember because, they got to having that OJ talk and all that. So I don't remember anything significant that this woman said. The only thing she really said about the son was that he was on the tour bus by himself. Or for all that time. It was one or the other or both. And it's like, that's not uncommon for a lot of people who go on tour with their children. It's not. When I was young, it was quite popular for people to have a key. You understand? And get home from school and turn that key and go in that house and you know what to do. Okay? We was chilling. Well, we wasn't chilling when my mom went to work. We was climbing out the window. She would lock the deadbolt lock on us, y'all. The deadbolt lock so we don't go outside. As an adult, you understand it's for your safety. People don't need to know you home by yourself. All that kind of stuff. And whatever goes on outside, can't nobody come help you with that. Hey, man, we used to climb out that window. Okay, we used to climb out that window. All right, but we was there. We was there. When she had to go to work, she had to go to work. So, what you talking about again? Who bothering the child on the tour bus? Clearly nobody. So there's that again. Tour bus probably cooler than a lot of people's apartments. She said the wife would get up early in the morning and blend shakes for them to eat, have food, the next day, and that was annoying. I can see that. But if that's how they took their meals, it was part of it. I'm trying to think of something and I can't think of nothing else she said that was like hard. It just seemed like, it wasn't fit for her. It wasn't fit for her. But hey, this is at the same time a lady who says, she's good and all this and that, but girl, you heard that man music and all that, and you still decided you wanted to play for his band. It's like, what? So the rest of them, I'm hoping they come harder, because outside of that, so far, all I have that I'm rocking with is Corey Haim. The way he was with Corey Haim, all of that stuff is horrible. It's terrible. And I can't give him no pass, because he had this childhood, jealousy thing that he hanged on to. You could hear it in an interview that they did, a couple interviews. You could hear him talking that shit. And Corey was just like, it's all love, but Corey Feldman was like holding, he should have stayed away from him. He holding stuff against him, from their childhood and getting roles and stuff. And it's like, why? Why are you like that? It's not his fault. He was better for the job. At the end of the day, y'all two were able to get together and, really play off each other and make good money. So what the problem is? But he held it. And like the mama said, I don't think she lied. She said he told her, he called her on the phone and told her that he about to get his payback. It's payback time because his book coming out. And then it cut, because they put this real good in one video. It cut to, him reading the chapter, and he was like talking junk about Corey Haim. Telling all his problems, stuff he went through, and saying, oh, he was staying with me. I paid. He didn't have a health care, so I paid for him because he always had a problem with his teeth. It was like he was really trying to. Yeah, it's bad. It's bad. So that's really all I got so far. I don't know. I think people, because when they say go to jail, you gonna have to make it more plain, because there's some real monsters out here that have done some mess, and they do need to go to jail. Is he that type of monster? Because all this stuff I done watched, and I ain't came across none of that yet. I'm waiting. I'm trying to see. So there it is, y'all. That's in case y'all didn't know. And that's for anybody who come to my page and be like, I know she ain't oblivious to Corey Feldman. I know she ain't trying to advocate for Corey Feldman. Well, I'd see what I was. I was, because I didn't see none of this. None of this. But hey, I did my due diligence and I'm still doing it. And this is my conclusion thus far. Thus far. He's messed up, just like most of our childhood stars are. You got your little Nickelodeons. That wasn't my era. That was my children's era. That was their entertainment. So on and so forth. It goes all the way back to the child singers, including Michael Jackson. But again, y'all pick and choose who y'all want to mess with. I still don't see the real beef with Michael. Weird, yeah. We understand why. But just because you didn't like something, that doesn't necessarily mean it was bad. Because when y'all say stuff like, oh, they was in his bed, they was in his room. What size is this bed and what size is this room? Is it bigger than most people's living rooms, garage, bedroom, all together? Like, what size is it again? Because most filthy rich people have huge rooms, huge beds. We know this. And if you got a whole amusement park for your home, yeah, that's not no normal size bedroom. It probably is the size of a few of people's homes. So if you play with them, it's almost like the whole being a child thing, that's something that makes sense to me. If you're gonna play with him, why wouldn't he sleep with him? Once we look at it from a Michael Jackson standpoint, once we look at it from his bed was probably bigger than your living room and your kitchen put together, much less the bedroom itself. Okay, they didn't really explore and show us how his the size of his bedroom at all. They just tried to make it look small by coming through a hallway or something like that, or a little private entrance or something. I remember that part. That's what right there started me to thinking this dude got a big old bedroom and a big old bed, because they never showed it. But at any rate, again, all those years of investigation and nothing. Nothing. But y'all still keep going on. Sad. Anywho, if I see something crazy on Corey, I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna say it. But I don't know. I kind of think I ain't gonna see nothing except for he's mean, he's weird. Because that's what everybody's saying. Listen, all these videos I watched on this guy, and they're talking about like clowning him for his music and his impersonations of Michael and all that. I mean, clowning him to death, saying everything they can about anything they can. And they not saying nothing else. They not giving up nothing. They not telling you, well, yeah, this the same creep that did this to this person. Did that? They not saying nothing. Nothing. So, it was somebody in one of the videos though that mentioned Corey Haim, and that's when I was like, okay, let me look. I had to go out and key it in. Corey Feldman, Corey Haim, so I can see what that story was about. Other than that, wasn't nobody saying anything about that. So I'm like, do they got something on this dude for real? Or what? Because, again, that first interview I watched, child, you're going to have to try again. Then you going hard on OJ like that. I'm not here to defend or nothing. Because, again, I don't know no better than y'all do what he did or did not in that situation. I don't even know if they caught the person who did it. I guess they did. I don't know. I never heard that they caught the person who did it. I have to look that up. That's an interesting point. But either way, the person that they wanted to, put in jail for it, they weren't able to do that, Bo. Johnny Cochran wasn't that doggone good. If it don't fit, you must have quit. A glove not fitting. Y'all show y'all want to keep hollering about OJ did that. Like, the glove didn't fit. I don't know. Maybe you should be mad at prosecution or something, because it seemed like it's like, what was your case on him again? Like, what was the case? Even. Sean. And then y'all talk about Kardashian. Y'all don't see. Y'all can talk about OJ, but you don't want me to say what I want to say about Kardashian and that whole situation. Yeah. Then y'all gonna be mad, right? You're gonna be real mad. So I'm just gonna keep those thoughts to myself for now. For now. But I am getting tired of hearing y'all talk down on OJ and accuse him of something that courts already said he didn't do. I wish he would start suing folks so he can keep his mouth closed. Alright. Anywho. All right, Corey, don't let me find nothing too crazy on you now. All right, don't. Let's just you know, let's hope we don't find nothing too crazy on Corey Feldman. But outside of what he did with Corey Haim, I can't be cool with him no more about that. I heard they had, some problems, or he wasn't how they say that they weren't really truly best friends and all that, but I didn't really think it was not that much to it. Now I'm trying to resize this and it's messing up my organization, which is really, it's not supposed to do that. Oh, so here we go. Let me get back, on my Adobe editing this book cover. Don't forget to hit the like. Don't forget to share. Don't forget to subscribe and all that good stuff. All right, peace.